distributed to you. There's a reversed version to it, and Hannah is helping me distribute them out to you. And with the leave of the chair again, the meeting is called to order. And can we please pray individually, in our own individual ways? Amen. Amen. With the leave of the chair and on behalf of the parliamentary committees, members of the parliamentary committees of legislative and political affairs and leadership in parliament, I want to welcome you all to this committee meeting, your excellencies of the various diplomatic missions, honorable ministers, members of parliament, members of the Fourth Estate, members of the civil society, ladies and gentlemen. And the Independent Commission to the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion 2020. This bill was presented to Parliament on the first reading by the Chief Minister on the 12th of November 2020, and after its first reading and its second reading, and the leader of government business on the 17th November moved that the bill be committed to the committee stage, and it was committed to the legislative committee, assisted by the Committee of Political Affairs. One of the key issues that came out on the debate on the bill was that members were concerned on both sides of the aisles that they wanted to get more consultation on the bill. That came out clearly. And with that, the leader of government moved that the bill be committed to the committee stage. And in that process, you were invited to be part of the process so as to give, the consultation that the debate called for on that day. So that is the main reason why you have been invited. Before I go further, and I want us to get some few introduction. We know who are here and who are on the high table. And with the leave of the chair, maybe I will start with the honorable members first. Please let me do that man. Honorable.
I am Honorable Isaiah Kuruma, Member of Parliament representing Bombay, Constituency 093.
Honorable Joseph Williams Sami, Constituency 081, Member of the Public and Political Affairs Committee.
Honorable Dr. Tabo,
Chair of the Opposition. Honorable Kansama Kasema, Chair of Finance Committee.
Professor David Francis, the Chief Minister of the Government of Sierra Leone.
Abraham John, Director of Ministerial Coordination of Cabinet Forum.
Prince Ioko, the Permanent Secretary, Office of the Chief Minister.
Ambassador Monopoli Kela, Minister for Political Affairs.
Good morning, Amara Kayan, Deputy Minister for Political Affairs.
Good morning, Tom Vance, the EU Ambassador.
Good morning, James BCC, Director, Ministry of Political Affairs.
Good morning, honorable members. Committee Tengwe, Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Political and Public Affairs.
Good morning, honorable members. I'm Morrison Benjamin Boyle, Executive Secretary, National Commission for Democracy.
Good morning, honorable members of Parliament. I'm Dr. Abubakar Tabo, Chairman, National Commission for Democracy.
Good morning, I'm Tom O'Hearn from British High Commission.
Good morning, I'm Khadija Peters from UNDP.
Good morning, I am the Emmanuel, National Strategic Official of the Chief Minister.
Good morning, Thomas Lobadi, Civil Society, Chair, Controller of the Government Democracy Unite.
Good morning, Marcus Bangwa, Executive Director of Democracy Sierra Leone.
Thank you very much, everybody, for introducing yourselves. And I'll just take you through the revised program. And we'll be having a statement from the chairperson of the Legislative Committee, who is also going to be the chair for this committee meeting, Honorable Abdul S. Marie Conte. And then from there, we are going to take statements, and we'll appreciate if you limit your intervention to just 5 minutes. And we'll listen to the leader of government business, we'll listen to the leader of the opposition, the Minister of Public and Political Affairs, the Interreligious Council. Unfortunately, I did not get anyone introducing myself from the Interreligious Council, but we wanted the Interreligious Council to make a statement. Campaign for Good Governance, also I did not get anyone introducing myself from that group. And the National Commission for Democracy. From there, we'll go to the bill itself, because that is what a bill that is being assigned, subject to SO 52. And 2, we'll be looking at the bill in detail, line by line, and this committee has the power to make amendments, exclusion or inclusion with your support and input as the case may be. That is what the presentation on the merits of the bill will be. And no, the presentation of the merits of the bill will be done by the Chief Minister. The scrutiny of the bill will be done by the committee. And then, of course, we'll have a working lunch, because normally scrutinizing bill will take a very long time. We'll have a working lunch as we'll be going on. That's the procedure. That's what we're going to follow, because we want to see how we get this work completed from now going into tomorrow. And with these few words, and I would like to hand it over to the chairperson of the committee, Honorable Marie Conte. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Director. The Honorable Chief Minister, Minister of Public and Political Affairs, the Leader of Government Business, Leader of the Opposition, colleague MPs, ministries, departments and agencies, civil society organization, representatives from the international community, members of the Fed Estate. I want to say a very good morning to you and welcome to Committee Room 1 in the House of Parliament. Today is a very, very important day, because we're edging closer to creating a permanent infrastructure for peace. Infrastructure for peace is one of the outcomes of the London Accord in 1999. After that, relentless efforts have been made by civil society organizations and other advocacy groups to ensure that this objective is achieved. The Truth and Reconciliation Committee was also another step in the right direction to ensure that we have this permanent infrastructure for peace. Setting up a peace commission is a high priority in the government's agenda. Bintu 93 was a clear evidence of that particular intention. Today we are gathered here to ensure that we provide a platform for a broader understanding of this particular bill, and also give the people an opportunity to make certain clarification or even addition for us to ensure that we have a bill enacted to law that will reflect the minds of Sierra Leoneans. At this point, I want to encourage all of us to ensure that we examine this bill with the spirit of oneness, to ensure that we create the relevant ownership that we need for that. We are Sierra Leoneans. That's the bond that unites us. Let us remember that Unity is our fundamental strength as a people and as a nation. This bill has enjoyed a bipartisan support in its early stage in the world. We are going to ensure that we continue in that same spirit today. So at this juncture, I want to welcome you once again and wish you a fruitful deliberation, and God bless you. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. Now we'll start the program proper. Next item on the agenda is a statement from somebody that has displayed dynamic leadership, has displayed inclusiveness, has gone the extra mile to reach out to members on the other side. Somebody with style and substance, the pride of Bukata Jama, and no other person than the astute leader of government business, Honorable Matthew Simon. Let's give him a big hand.
Thank you very much. We have to complete the native nomenclature of my constituency. Bukata Jama, Bulamba Yama. So you didn't just stop halfway. That is very significant to the people of Kenya.
Noted.
Chief Minister of my constituency, so it's my subject on that issue. God, thank you very much. And honorable members of Parliament, members and our moral guarantor of our peace, members of the diplomatic and consular corps, the international community, government ministers, the Minister of Public and Political Affairs, I hope you are okay. The Minister of the Definite Article, the Chief Minister, the one who is piloting this bill, now has contributed immensely in consolidating peace in our neighboring countries. There are written so many books. Members of the Fourth Estate, Mr. Director, my leader of the opposition, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. We are here today to make another history. We say, in the time of war, we should be ready for peace. And in the time of peace, we want to consolidate it. What we are doing today is one of the recommendations that came from the TRC, the Truth and Reconciliation Commission. It's a deliberate attempt by me and the opposition leader to invite this handful of members who has contributed immensely to consolidate our peace and in our democracy, to ensure that we build institutions that can live the test of time, not to hate people, but to strengthen our democracy. It's good for us. We have said so much about the bill. We want to get your own side of the story about the bill. This bill presented to us in the chamber from the Chief Minister's office. And he was in the chamber presented the bill to us. We are the people's representatives. We don't want to do this one alone. We want you all to be part of this history making. We want it to be an inclusive document. That's the reason we deliberately decided to choose them. Members from the public who we think can give us meaningful contribution to strengthen the bill. The Chief Minister cannot handle it alone, nor the members of Parliament. So if we exclude you, it means trying to consolidate the peace. We are still making it fragile because you have not made it inclusive. So in light of this, we want to encourage you all to please give us your meaningful contributions. If you think you have professionals in the department, please bring them on board. It is not like what the Chief Minister has presented or we have debated. We are at the level where you can make your own contribution as long as it's meaningful in the interest of Sierra Leone we can put it in the bill. That is what we are looking for. We are looking for a bill that can lead the test of time even after our generation. Today we have created a peace to ensure that people, for the first time in our history, after we have passed this bill, to have somewhere in terms of peace can make complaints. Say, I've not been treated fairly in terms of peace, in respect of peace. The consequence of war, the injustice, the lack of natural resource distribution, unfair distribution of natural resources. So all of these, we look at, contributed to peace, that contributed to war. So we are now looking for a model wherein we can strengthen this peace. Peace is priceless. We know all what we went through. We know the very difficult situations. Let us not forget in the war. During the interregnum, we suffered so much. We went through a lot of things. So we don't want to make this bill as if it's personal thing coming from members of Parliament to do. This is a national bill enacted into law. As I said, we want the public, even beyond this point, before we take it to the chamber for the last scrutiny and pass it into law, we still need a contribution. You can still put it in writing and send it to us. As long as it's pertinent and we can make sense to the bill, we can put it in the bill. We can make it inclusive. So our colleagues, our partners in the international community will look up to you. It's not only you giving us your money, your financial support. No, you give us your idea. The idea that we can consolidate this peace. The idea that we can consolidate our democracy. What was wrong yesterday is still wrong today. What caused the peace, what caused the unrest yesterday, let us prevent it by engaging one another in the interest of peace and prosperity of democracy. So we invited you not to come and have a party, but to tap into your own knowledge. How do you contribute to the peace building this morning? Thank you very much. We love this stuff.
Thank you very much, Leader of Government Business. Next on the agenda is also one of Sierra Leone's finest politicians, a gentleman, somebody with character and somebody with integrity. He has displayed that several times, but you will find out yourself. Presenting to you the leader of the opposition, Honorable Cherno Aremba.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. And with your permission, I want to start on existing protocols. Mr. Chairman, first, I will thank everybody that is in the room, but I also want to specifically thank the Chief Minister, and it is deliberate. Thank him because some ministers, when they get a bill to this house, their interest is for the bill to be rushed, passed into law, and then it leaves the room. But since the first day he entered this house, in trying to convince us before commencing the piloting of the bill itself, he said, this is a top priority of the President's agenda. I want to get it through as soon as possible, but make sure you do your work and do it professionally. We also agreed with him that it is going to be non-political. As the Leader of Government Business said, it will stand the test of time. So I want to thank him very much for that. We've been with the in and out of the chamber now for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So it shows the premium he himself plays on the fact that we need to be very patient with this bill. It is on that note I want to thank our international partners and others who are in this room, also the Minister of Political Affairs and his deputy. The National Commission for Democracy and Human Rights is an old baby now, because it was established in the 90s. it has achieved a lot, but this is going to be another test for all of us, not just in making a good law, but ensuring that the law that will be passed is also implemented to the letter. Because as I said earlier, the pilot of the bill, who happens to be the chief minister, the leader of government businesses, the minister with a definite article, has also insisted that he wants to get a very good bill that is non-partisan or apolitical out of the chamber of parliament. And if he has asked for that, we are supposed to help him to make sure he gets exactly that. But as the leader has said, we cannot do it alone. We don't have all the expertise within the chamber. That is why, after consultation with the piloter, the House resolved to send this bill to the Legislative Committee with the assistance and support of the Committee on Political Affairs in Parliament, so that we will all sit and interact. That is why the mixture I am seeing is very, very impressive. We are fortunate to have the head of the EU delegation with us. We have civil society. We have our brother from the British High Commission. I'm sure going towards the end of the year, almost all institutions are very, very busy. But for the fact that you've been able to make it this morning, it shows that you yourself, you want to be part of the journey. We know that we will make the law. We know that nobody will be dictating to us. But as the leader said, we want your suggestions. We want your expertise to play a part in the better bill we'll be getting through Parliament. We still have some time. The bill is very, very, very important. But if you look at the size of it, it is not that big. I will not say it is not, but it is not that big. The size of the bill is far, far different from the relevance and importance of this bill. So we want to encourage you to assist us in getting a good bill out of this House. So it is not just going to be Parliament that will be remembered for passing this bill, but all of you that will have contributed will also be remembered to be part and parcel of those key players who supported the passage of the bill itself. And on that note, I want to thank you very much and not to take much of your time. And assure the Minister again that we will continue the way we have started, so that at the end of the day, definitely whatever we do will be for the benefit of all. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you very much, Leader of the Opposition. That the leadership of government has demonstrated the kind of spirit we need to adopt going into this period. The spirit of bipartisanship. The spirit of one voice. We talked about inclusiveness, which is very, very key. They reminded us of how consolidating peace is our collective responsibility. They also reminded us that our contributions are very key to ensure that we make a bill that will stand the test of time. Let's keep all these things in mind as we go deep into the scrutiny of the bill. Thank you very much, leaders. Our next speaker on the agenda is the Minister of Public and Political Affairs, Ambassador Mohammed Foli Lungora. Mr. Minister.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister, Honorable Members of Parliament, Chief Minister, Deputy Minister, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic and Consular Corps, members of the Fourth Estate, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I feel honored and gratified to be accorded this privilege by this noble House to deliver a statement of the legislative hearing towards the inauguration of the Independent Peace and National Tourism Act 2020. Honorable Members of Parliament, my ministry, in collaboration with other MDAs and institutions,
such as CSOs and our international partners, have been working actively in pursuing the setting up of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. The setting up of the Commission is a top priority of government, and my ministry, together with other MDAs and stakeholders, are mapping out modalities to establish the Commission and make it fully operational. As my ministry is the intermediary between government and the people, it has been identified that one of the fundamental platforms for our country's development is the sustenance of peace, reconciliation, and national cohesion. It has been clearly evident that the one way our beloved country can move forward is when we have an established functional and operational infrastructure that will monitor the governance of peace and national cohesion region. Hence, the Commission will become a center to bring Sierra together as one people under the umbrella of the green, white, and blue. To this end, my ministry works in collaboration with the Office of the Chief Minister on the development of the Green Paper for the proposed Independence Commission for Peace and National Cohesion, which was presented to His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio. This opened up the pathway leading to the consolidation of the MPP's concept on democratic consolidation, peace, and national cohesion. So, honorable members, as an intermediary ministry, we undertook an extensive national consultation to cite the opinion of Sierra-Leoneans on the establishment of the proposed commission and documented the key drivers of conflict, anger, hate, and violence. The report from this national consultation formed the basis for the agenda for the holding of a national dialogue on the democratic consolidation for peace and national cohesion in Sierra Leone, which took place at the Bishmani International Conference in Aberdeen, Freetown, from the 23rd to the 25th May 2019, dubbed 893 Conference, and which was a huge success to the government and the people of this country. The report of the National Dialogue and the communique has been produced and was produced and distributed to all MDAs, the 4th Estate, and the 5th Estate. I'll refer to the CSOs as the 5th Estate. The communique and the report from this national dialogue was popularized through district and regional meetings and was adopted as reflecting the views of Sierra-Leoneans in the establishment of the country. Honorable members, my ministry will continue to pursue relentlessly the implementation and the recommendation for the Truth and the Reconciliation Commission to ensure that the people of this nation become united within the dreams of the founding fathers in blessed memory. In this regard, on behalf of my ministry, I wish to thank His Excellency the President, retired Brigadier Dr. Julius Maada Bio, President of the Republic, for his tremendous support in the process. I also thank you, honorable members of this House, for leading the process in the enacting of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. Honorable members, my ministry will continue working relentlessly together with other MDAs, CSOs, the legislature, and our international partners to pursue good governance, peace, and national cohesion to move our nation forward in all aspects of socio-economic development. Let me end by reassuring you, this noble House, that this government is totally committed to the establishment of the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. I look forward to a fruitful and experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for your time in government its commitment to this process, and also reminding us here that the Commission will work relentlessly to ensure that Sierra Leoneans unite under the umbrella of the Human Rights Law. Thank you very much. Now we move on to the representative from the Interreligious Council, Sheikh Abubakar Conte. Okay, well then we proceed with the next civil society. Well, we have Campaign for Good Governance from our calling Consortium for Good Governance, Democracy and Human Rights. The chairman, Mr. Thomas P.A. Babadi.
Thank you very much for the impromptu speech. I'm excited to be here for the second time, especially because of dignitaries like you, Mr. Chair, Leader of the Opposition, my patriotic honorable man that I used to refer to with your actions in the World of Parliament. Please keep it up, and order protocols observed. Interestingly, I'm one of those who were part of the humanitarian conference as a people at the Albert Academy at the time, when I was in Law 6. I witnessed the occasion, I knew what happened, I saw it all. Going for my A-level exams in 1997, we had a coup. Corporal Bong and others were busy firing bullets all over the place whilst we were in exams, and bombardment were taking place at the B20 conference hall. Now, we've seen it all. In 1999, we heard what happened, we knew what happened. The TIC report was established, the TIC was established. Bishop
add more ideas to this particular commission. And as I say, throughout the history of Sierra Leone, we've not seen any, pointer towards that effect in trying to create a tangible structure like this one. And since it was announced in 2018 by His Excellency the President, we realized that with the leadership of my professor there, things would sort of come into fruition. And I think with the support of Sierra Leoneans, we are going to make it. We are going to make history. Making history, a glorious history like this one, perhaps may not be something that one is conscious about. But what we are now creating today, what we are now putting together today, like what the leader of the House was saying, would sort of ensure that generations yet unborn would enjoy this situation. But definitely, we must not shy away that Sierra Leone is divided and that we need such a structure, a permanent structure. And I hope this structure would create that environment where there will be equity. Because when we talk of structures, we've been creating structures, we've been creating governance institutions. But we realize that after some time they will fizzle out. Because a lot of other challenges are characterized by this sort of national institutions, like resources, capacity, and of course the political will. But I think political will might be something that is already there. But resources, taken into consideration as Sierra Leone is a dependency, and we cannot vouch for the resources, at least 80%, so that these institutions will function properly. But we are happy our donor partners are here, and they know the essence of having such a structure. They would make commitments towards ensuring the effectiveness, efficiency, and sustainability of this newly created structure that will bring about peace and stability. Because without peace, nothing is. And there is nothing so big that we cannot sacrifice to the altar of peace. We need to sacrifice not only the resources, but ourselves, our commitment as Sierra Leoneans. We have to be committed. We should not allow politics to divide the country. That's why whenever I postulate the idea of political parties, I always bring in Maurice Fabergé, that they are sort of parties are divisive in terms of bringing an ideology to a particular set of people or community and thus dividing their minds. Even against the backdrop that this particular community is primordial. They were not societies that grew up from the governance principle as envisioned by the Westminster model. So if we are to practice the Westminster model properly, then we are to cultivate political culture, tolerance, coexistence, and we ensure that our political system is more sort of accommodating. Our political system and electoral system do give, ways, or do give the chance for people to have access to it, so that the winner will not take everything. That is the problem in a primordial society where people are also thinking of customs and traditions. They will not want to adhere to governance principle, which we now espouse for Sierra Leone. So with that, we are here to give up our best in terms of ideas, and we're waiting for the debate. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Commissioner.
I want to make an amendment to the agenda, with all due respect, Honorable Chair, before the presentation of the Chief Minister. As I said in my opening statement, it's good to have monies and moral support from the international community. But it's also good to copy the best practice, especially in consolidating peace and building institutions. So I want to propose to you through a good office, through your good leadership, that we have the UNDP, the European Union, and Deputy Chairs Commission to make individual statements. I need that 2 minutes, at least for 2 minutes, so that we can hear them. So it can be, I said, it's good to want it to be inclusive as we can. Thank you. So it's my submission.
Yes. I quite agree with what the leader has said relating to the contribution from the international development partners. But I also would like to let them listen to all the views from this side, and then they can come in with a statement. Because very much so, because at the end of the day, they will be part of our moral guarantors to ensure that whatever we implement, they are here to say, yes, this was what you all committed yourselves to, and this is what we are going to go with. So I think I just spoke with the legislative chair. I was not here, sorry for that, because I just spoke to the leader relating to why I came in late. But definitely, the initiative is one that all of us need to make an input in, just so that we are all in it together. So I think the chairman already consented to let me make a statement before the minister, Mr. Minister, I hope you will permit me to. And in such a situation, because of the nature of the issue that we are dealing with right here, I think it is prudent for me to stand and talk, particularly when I'm seeing my professor sitting by me. Now, let me first of all laud the efforts of the minister for bringing the initiative to Parliament. It is indicative of the fact that we all know what the issues are, but we have been failing to confront them. And if we are to achieve anything relating to this institution, we must be frank and very honest with ourselves. One thing that I know, let me take the case of the United States of America. I'll make reference to that, not because it is similar to our situation, but the issue of press relations in America have been left swept under the carpet for quite a while, even though people know that these are inherent problems within the society. Yet, they have allowed them to boil to a point wherein lives have to go before people realize that there needs to be a change. But this is a change everybody knows is very necessary in the society. Fast track to Sierra Leone. We all know what our experiences have been over the years, and nobody will definitely want a recurrence of what happened in Sierra Leone 15, 20 years ago. We all know that. But I hope we'll all appreciate what we are talking about here in very good faith and in a very sincere manner, just so that we uproot these issues once and for all, and we want to be part of the change process. Like I said in the Wall of Parliament some time ago, let this parliament be a change agent. It is not about the executive, it's not about the people, because we represent people. And if we represent people, what we do here must reflect the entire, what happens in the entire society. Because we are opinion leaders. We represent our people. We talk for them in parliament, so they look forward to what we're doing. What am I saying this for? Let us assume that wrongs have been happening in certain areas. That is not to say, if you come and commit the wrong in a worse manner, it will change the situation. It will only continue to aggravate the situation that it is. Let us understand, the history of Sierra Leone is a history of immigration and migration. Very simple. A history of immigration and migration. Most of the ethnic groups in Sierra Leone are foreigners. Let us say that. Because you talk about the Manis, they came. The Timnis, they came. The Madingos, they came. The Fulan, they came. So, everybody migrated or emigrated from somewhere to somewhere. That makes it absolutely necessary for us to intermarry. When it comes to marriage life, people don't pay attention to the ethnic group. A Mende woman can get married to a Timni man, or a Timni man get married to a Mende woman, or whatever, whichever way, Madimbo Fula, etc. But let us accept that we, the politicians, sometimes fan the flames of ethnicity and regionalism because we lack an agenda for the people. Let us accept that fact. Because if you have something to tell to the people for developmental purposes, you will not care about the ethnic group or the region. But let us accept our responsibility first as politicians before we address the problem. Now, if we take an ethnic audit of promotions in the last 1 year to 2 years, we'll find out 90%. My leader might like to hear that or not. One thing I know about him, if it is true, he'll tell you when I treat or what not for talk. He'll tell you that. He's very frank and down to earth. But let's accept it. I'll give you instances. Very recently, at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, 10 promotions to permanent secretary level. 10. I hope people will take one and say, in good faith, let us try to correct this anomaly. Because those are the issues that affect the fabric of our national life. 10 people promoted to permanent secretary positions, all from the same region, the same ethnic group. I am not talking out of a vacuum. I'm talking based on evidence. If you do that and look at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, it is the face of Sierra Leone. That is what we market to the world. If you present a picture that there is only one area, one group of people, one set of one region that can govern this country, it is counterproductive. Even if people don't say it, it creates the internal tensions that will accumulate to a point where by the time people want to address it, it might be too late. That is why I want to laud the effort of the Chief Minister again for bringing this kind of institutional framework to Parliament so that we will endorse it. But let us address the issues because that is what they are. And until we call them by their name and address them as we must, as we have to, we will never uproot the problem. So I think, having said that, we think that as legislators, we will need support to do, but let it be done in good faith and sincerity. I think that is the only way we can address the issue based on what has been laid before us as legislators. I will not take more time again because you are not also leaving late. I might have said more if I had been here earlier. But I want to thank the chairman for giving me time to say something at least on this. Let us say it as it is. If you want to talk, let us walk the walk. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chairman, you had a proposal in front of you
Yes.
to allow our international partners or partners to do this statement.
Yes, granted, Mr. Leader.
Thank you.
So, the most important thing we have to take into consideration now that I really picked up, we don't only have to lead by example, but we have to lead by good example. What we are doing today, we can point fingers, but we are only trying to correct things that were wrong. And because we acknowledge that things were wrong, that's why it is the government's priority to put this peace commission at the top of the political agenda. Now I want to humbly call on the EU Ambassador, His Excellency Tom Ben, to make a statement. Put your hands together for the Ambassador.
Thank you very much, Honourable Chairman, Honourable Members, Honourable Ministers, distinguished guests, co-guests, I should say. Very good morning to you all. I did not come here with the intention to make a statement. I did come here with the intention to listen. It's actually quite unusual for a diplomat to not to come and listen, but to be actively part of a debate on a bill. But I'm very honored that we can witness this process in the first place. And I did come because this is a matter of utter importance to the country, to talk about national cohesion. I did come because I'm a firm believer that any action and any process that can promote national cohesion and peace is key for all of us to be able to advance an agenda of development, an agenda of promoting and creating jobs, investment, an agenda of demarginalization. And this is why I really wanted to listen and to learn in the first place. I am encouraged that you are coming together here and to have a real discussion on this architecture to promote peace and national cohesion. And this can definitely be an important element in addressing the challenges that you have. But I think it is also clear that having an architecture cannot be an excuse for everybody, and I particularly appreciate that we have so many politicians here in taking also responsibility and following up with action. And as you have said it, Mr. Chairman, indeed be exemplary in moving forward that agenda. I want to finish with 2 points. And perhaps the first one that I'm going to say is I would invite you to reflect a little bit how you can reflect that in your bill, despite the fact that I started by saying that it should not be your role to comment on the bill itself. But yesterday we started 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. I think this is a topic which is of concern to all of us. And that not just the issue of addressing gender-based violence, but the promotion of a gender-friendly agenda and environment is also something that perhaps could be reflected in the bill. Because I am genuinely convinced that this is an element, the involvement of women in that process is an element that can genuinely contribute to achieving what you set out to achieve through the process. And the last point that I would like to make is that when, as a foreigner, I ask myself and I ask others, what is the good thing that you know about Sierra Leone? It's easy to come up with criticism and with challenges, but what is the thing which stands, that sparks sort of your imagination, that you really look up to Sierra Leone when you think about it as a foreigner? And the thing which always comes back is your amazing capacity for religious tolerance and coexistence. I truly hope that this capacity that you have in that space can also inspire you to have the same capacity for tolerance, coexistence, and cooperation across ethnic and political lines. If you manage to achieve this, including through the promotion of this bill, then I think we are really set for delivery on our shared development agenda, or shared agenda of promoting jobs, investment, and demarginalization. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador. Your points will be taken into consideration. Next on our list is Donald Ahern from the British High Commission.
Good morning, everybody. I stand on existing protocols, Mr. Chairman. A very short statement from the British High Commission. Of course, we are with you, we support you, we firmly support this bill. I would like to echo the thoughts of the EU ambassador. It's an honour to be here, to be invited to this process as a foreigner. I would like to make 3 very quick points. First of all, the Deputy Leader of the Opposition spoke about the challenges. That's noted. But I would also like to point out the strengths of Sierra Leone. The Ambassador talked about your tolerance, but let's also remember how far you've come as a nation since the 1990s. That gives us a lot of belief in your country. The second thing I want to say is the way that the 4 parties have united to support this bill also gives us a lot of belief in your country. So we wish you every success, and we are with you on this journey. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Thank you. Now the representative from UNDP, Madam Kadi Jumo Peters.
Thank you very much, honourable members of Parliament, honourable ministers, distinguished guests and members of the diplomatic corps. I'm so glad to be here on behalf of my resident rep, who is not in the country, but is to give total support to the government of Sierra Leone on this bill. UNDP has from the onset supported this process and every peace initiative that the government of Sierra Leone has engaged in. We are so happy to see this bill be tabled and discussed because this has been something we've pushed for from the beginning of the Bintu 1 to date. And so we are glad that this process is going on, and we will solely be behind the government. But I also want to echo the words of Ambassador and the British representative that yes, it will be very nice to see the gender component in the bill, because I was reading through it and it was very, it was missing that element. So we'd love to see that aspect in it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you all for your valuable contribution, and this has clearly demonstrated that to consolidate peace is an issue of active participation and total involvement by each stakeholders, national as well as international. Thank you very much. And now, yes, I just want to recognize the presence of the leader of the C4C Parliament, the C4C party in Parliament, Honorable Emerson Sir Lamina. You're welcome, sir. Now, I think the big moment is here. We have to pay attention, because the purpose is to ensure that we gain a broader understanding of this bill, and that will enable us to make valuable contribution and also make clarification on pertinent issues bordering on the bill. And from this we'll be able to make an informed decision and also be in a better position to go out there and inform and educate our constituents on what's in this particular bill. Remember, consolidation of peace is a collective responsibility, and we have to unite under this common purpose. At this point, I want to invite the Honorable Chief Minister, Professor David John Francis, to make his presentation. Let's put our hands together for the Chief Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable members of Parliament, colleague minister and deputy minister, members of the diplomatic corps, civil society organizations present, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Let me start off by thanking honorable members of Parliament for the very warm reception accorded to the Chief Minister on behalf of His Excellency the President in the presentation of the bill from the first reading to the second reading and now the legislative committee process. I want to thank you very much for the bipartisan approach Honorable Member of Parliament after Honorable Member of Parliament, they have all individually and collectively presented a unified understanding of the relevance of the Peace Commission Bill. I want to thank you on behalf of His Excellency the President for that process and for that support. This is history in the making. This is your legacy to the people of Sierra Leone. Because 59 years after independence, 18 years after the end of the bloody Civil War, and 16 years after the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report, we have never, as a nation, never made a consistent, proactive effort to develop a permanent infrastructure for peace. So this is your legacy to the people of Sierra Leone. Let me also use this opportunity to thank our development partners, in particular UNDP and the UN system, the EU, and the British High Commission for their consistent support for the Bintumani 3 process. They have supported it in diverse ways, and this bill is a product of their collective support. But let me also use this opportunity to thank my colleague minister, Ambassador Yob Keller, and his deputy minister, for the tremendous support they've given to the Office of the Chief Minister in facilitating the Bintumani 3 process and the popularization and the consultative process nationwide led by the minister and his team. I thank you very much, colleague minister. But why are we here? I have outlined 10 merits, in my view, that warrants the legislation of the Peace Commission Bill. Firstly, this will be the first permanent infrastructure for peace in post-war Sierra Leone. And we need it. We all know that we need it. But it takes leadership. It takes proactive leadership on the part of His Excellency the President to make that public pronouncement that we have to have a permanent infrastructure for peace. So for the first time in the history of this country, we will have a permanent address, and that permanent address will be the Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion. That will be the permanent address for peace in Sierra Leone. But this bill also fulfills the post-war peace building and transitional justice recommendations put together or put forward by the Lome Peace Agreement in 1999 and the Truth and Reconciliation Commission report of 2004. They have all in diverse ways made a clear recommendation to post-war government that we have to have a framework and infrastructure where people can build a peace, a platform for preventing conflict before they escalate into armed violence. The second merit of this bill is that it is clearly about institution building. We can talk about peace. Securing peace is one thing. Maintaining, building, and winning the peace, winning the hearts and minds for peace, is a very difficult and complex process. We take it for granted. And this is the opportunity, through an institutional framework in the form of an independent commission for peace and national cohesion, we are able to win the hearts and mind for people building peace in Sierra Leone today and in the future. The Independent Commission for Peace and National Cohesion started with His Excellency's pronouncement in the State Opening of Parliament in May 2018, just 2 months after assuming leadership. That demonstrates his understanding of the relevance of peace and national cohesion to national development. So whilst this is a bill that will legislate the establishment of the commission, it is essentially also about institution building. Honorable members of Parliament, just last week, His Excellency the President launched the first ever National Disaster Management Agency. as the platform, the institutional framework, the state governing institution to represent, to respond to national disasters and national emergencies. And of course, the context of COVID-19 is very timely. So this again, this bill and the Peace Commission builds on the platform of building state governing institutions. And this is where His Excellency the President has made a very clear pronouncement. In his campaign, he said he wanted to start a process of efficient political and economic management of the state. This is yet another platform for building state governing institutions. The fair merit of this bill, I really owe it to honorable members of Parliament. In the debate, the second reading of this bill, it became very clear that the honorable members of Parliament clearly understood the marriage made in heaven between peace and development. That you can never have peace if you don't have development. You can never have development if you don't have peace. So I owe it to the honorable members of Parliament. Members of Parliament who are in the front line every day in their constituencies. When you leave the well of Parliament, just when you step out of the Parliament building, you are involved in peacemaking. You are involved in conflict prevention. But you clearly understand the nexus of peace and development, that you cannot have development without peace. So I thank you very much for that understanding, and you have clearly demonstrated that this is why we need this bill. So this bill is not just an agenda for peace. It is an agenda for development. It is an agenda for national unity. It is an agenda for national cohesion, because with peace, with national unity, national cohesion, it is the collective that will create the long foundation for development that cannot be reversed. And that is what His Excellency the President wants to do. The fourth merit for this bill is that it provides the framework and the most credible foundation to prevent violent conflicts. By nature, conflict is just part of any other environment. Every society will have their conflict instigating factors, but they do have mechanisms to ameliorate, to de-escalate those conflict instigating factors before they escalate into armed violence. This is what this bill and this commission will do. It will help to prevent conflict. It will help to build peace. It will help to resolve conflict and resolve and build the peace before they escalate into armed violence. So this is the framework for never again in Sierra Leone can we have another bloody and violent civil war. Never again. The fifth merit of this bill is that this bill and the commission provides an alternative framework for dispute resolution. You know that the national infrastructure across the country have been involved in peacemaking, peace building. The Ministry of Political and Public Affairs seems to be doing its own very credible work in promoting that. The civil society organizations are doing their best. Moral guarantors of the peace, our development partners, they've been in the vanguard. But to a very large extent, that speaks only to the retributive justice dimension of peace. Retributive, in the sense that when we have conflict with our neighbors, we end up going to the court system. And you can never come back from the court system being at peace, because the court system is retributive. It demarcates the winner of the case and the loser of the case. And they are never going to be friends at all. So because of that, this framework provides an alternative platform where people can then go to the Peace Commission to help ameliorate, help resolve, help manage, and help prevent some of these conflicts before they escalate into armed violence. It is about building a platform for restorative justice. So again, this is a departure from the traditional Western-centric approaches to peace. Everything you take to the court system to address impunity, it doesn't often address the issue of reconciliation, truth-telling, memory, healing. It doesn't. This is what this platform and this bill will do. The restorative perspective, the restorative justice component of why people go to war or why people fight each other. Because we're all human beings. We all want to be validated. We all have our views. If I were to give honorable members of parliament the opportunity to talk about the failures of or the challenges of the New Direction government, we'll spend the whole day here. But of course, that is not to say that the New Direction government is not doing well. But we have to find a platform to restore, to hear a different perspective. Some people call it the opportunity to ventilate, just to talk. In the local parlance, I understand I'm in the committee room, so probably it doesn't apply. They say, blow mine. Thank you very much. You have to tell your story. That way, you are validated. That way, people listen to your own fundamental grievances. So this platform will provide the restorative justice in terms of reconciliation, truth-telling, and healing, which is an important aspect of national unity and national cohesion. The sixth merit of this bill is that it's simply about people building peace. That is all what this bill is about, and the commission. That is why it started with the Bintu Mani 3 national dialogue process. It ended with a communique popularized through a nationwide consultative process by the Ministry of Political and Public Affairs to demonstrate and to own the process, the outcomes of the Bintu Mani 3. That is why even the appointment to the commission by His Excellency the President will be through a framework of regional representation, regional commissions, so that way the commission is truly inclusive, is truly participatory, and is truly owned by the people themselves. You cannot build a peace that is imposed. You cannot maintain a peace that is imposed. But when it's built by the people, owned by the people, from their own communities, using traditional, local, cultural institutions and agencies to build a peace, that is the only way to maintain and secure peace. The seventh merit of this bill is that the bill itself and the commission is vested with the powers of the High Court. But there is a caveat here. The caveat is that it's only for the purposes of investigation. It's a very limited provision when it comes to investigation. Because peace commissions, by definition, rely on moral authority, moral suasion, to invite people to give evidence or witnesses. But if that were to be the case, we have also learned from our own experience in the consultative process of what obtains in other countries who have implemented peace infrastructures. In Rwanda after the genocide, in Kenya after the post-election violence in 2007 and 8, in Ghana and in other places, we have learned that it is important not to make the Peace Commission a toothless bulldog. It must have some powers to invite witnesses. So this is only for the purposes of investigation. But this is not different from the provisions of the Human Rights Commission Act 2004 that makes vests similar powers, privileges, and rights in the Sierra Leone Human Rights Commission as a way of encouraging people. But here it is limited. I want to make that caveat. The eighth merit of the bill is that this commission will be truly, truly independent. To make the commission independent, it will not be subject to the direction of any part or anybody. What this bill does is to empower the commission to make sure that it can guarantee and maintain the independence, the impartiality, and the neutrality of the Peace Commission itself. Because that way, you have a collective ownership of the Peace Commission. Independence in the sense that it will be independent and free from political interference. That is the only way we can assure and guarantee national and international confidence in the capacity, the credibility, and the legitimacy of the Peace Commission to be involved in building national unity, national cohesion, and peace building. The ninth merit of the bill is that it will be a foundation for peace, national unity, and national cohesion. The understanding and the framing of the bill, as you will see from the outline in terms of the functions of the bill, is that the Secretariat will lead conflict instigation. It will lead on understanding conflict or the causes of conflict, from the primary, secondary factors of conflict and conflict triggers. We know that issues of gender-based violence, issues of discrimination, issues of lack of representation will always create conflict instigating factors. When one group or one society, one community, one section of the country is excluded from the political and economic processes of the country, don't expect peace to prevail. That is a fact. So this bill and the Commission itself will provide that platform for ethnic audit. It has happened successfully in Kenya, where ethnic audit will provide an understanding to support governance that is reflective of the country, so that any government that is in power will be a truly representative government, where those who hold executive positions are truly reflective of the diversity of the country itself, in terms of religion, in terms of ethnicity. That is what this bill will do. And finally, Mr. Chairman, this bill is about the future of Sierra Leone. We have said never again. Never again can be a rhetoric. It can be a rhetoric in the sense that we do not translate our commitments into practical deliverables for the people of this country. And I want to leave you with the words of the preamble of the UNESCO Constitution, which says, "Since war begins in the minds of men and women, it is in the minds of men and women that the defenses for peace must be constructed." Honorable members of Parliament, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this is what this Peace Commission bill is all about. Building the defenses for peace and national cohesion in the minds of Sierra Leoneans, in the minds of our children and our great-grandchildren. I thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chief Minister, for that powerful presentation. Never again we allow ourselves to go into another civil war. Building institutional capacity to win the hearts and minds for peace and the future. Reaffirmation of the marriage between peace and development. Agenda for national cohesion, peace and development. Foundation for peace, national unity and cohesion. All cases of conflict will be examined. Alternative framework for dispute resolution. A platform for restorative justice, reconciliation, and healing. This is a new phase to development. We, the resilient people of Sierra Leone, capitalizing on our strength to make the difference when it's necessary. And this is clearly demonstrated by all of the processes involved in ensuring that we find ourselves here today. I want to thank you very much, Honorable Chief Minister. I think this go deep into scrutinizing this bill. The spirit of oneness will be taken into consideration because this is a legacy we are going to leave. Again, in the words of the leader of government business, this bill must have a test of time. At this juncture, I want to hand you over to the Director of Legislative Services, but before that, I want to commend the Director General of SLBC for ensuring that this very important program is covered live and it gives our people the opportunity to see what's happening here. Thank you very much, SLBC, for the good job. The Director will give us a bird's eye view of how the rest of the program is going to continue and exactly what is expected of us. Mr. Director.
Thank you very much, and Honorable Chair. And with the leave of the Chair and committee members, we've come to the close of the official part of scrutinizing this bill. And on behalf of the Chair and on behalf of the leadership, I want to thank you very much for making up time to be here. I think we're here for the real work now. The Chief Minister and his team, of course, you are staying with us, okay? Because subject I read earlier on in SO 51 and 1 and 2 for the committer of bill, and SO 52 gives us the authority to sit down and look at the bill line by line, and maybe for the benefit of just our visitors. 52.2 says any such committee, that is when the bill is committed to a committee, any such committee shall have power to make such amendments herein as they think fit, provided that the amendments, including new clauses and new schedules, are relevant to the subject matter of the bill. But if any such amendments are not within the title of the bill, they shall amend the title accordingly and shall report same to the committee of the whole house. It means we have the power now as a committee. We can change anything as it were. So those from the civil society who appreciate, the committee will appreciate if you can make time to join us. Your views, because it's an open meeting, it's an open committee meeting, although the committee members have the voting right, the voting power, but they will also tolerate your input. Members of the diplomatic mission, if you also have that time to spare us that of your valuable input, you are welcome into the scrutiny of the bill. For instance, the UNDP rep mentioned about the female inclusion. That I've already noted that. I will remind the committee members about that. And we'll welcome any other idea that you deem necessary for this bill, because this is a stage. In the world, you won't have the ability to make inputs, but here you have the power, you have the ability to make input. I think that was the wisdom of the leader of government business, why he wanted the bill to come down to committee stage, knowing well that as committee stage, it is open to other ideas and other inclusion. So you are very much welcome to stay. Of course, the Chief Minister and his team, as I said, you are staying. That's not an option. But for the Minister of Political Affairs, if you also have time, thank you very much. We appreciate that. That will enrich, and also you and your team, that will enrich the process. We appreciate you very much, and also the civil society. With those few words, we've come to an end of the formal, even the leader of government business will come to an end. Maybe you want to attend to other busy schedules. Okay. You want to make a statement?
No, just an addendum to what you said.
Okay.
You know, the spirit of freedom here, you lead your increase. They also be subject to the plenary. So that's why they are going to give us this be at the end of. We decide to change it in the plenary. Of course. I will stand and defend and change anything and put it to vote. But I want to hear your say. I want to hear the British High Commission who is supporting us in this process, the UNDP, the Union, and your counterpart. You can still make your suggestions because they are going to prepare reports. You have the time to send reports to us. We have done it for the Sexual Offences Act. We did it for the last bill, I cannot remember. We have done it for so many bills. We have enacted them. Even for the finance bill, we involve people to take contributions from outsiders. So I'm encouraging you again, not that you have to stay till the end. You can go to your offices and ask a professional and an expert. You can send a contributions and we can see their value added. We can put them in the bill. So just take that correction I wanted to make. And it's not the be at the end of it. You have to present report to us. So Chairman, over to you.
Thank you very much, Leader.
So, yeah, you are released, and the leadership and other invitees are at liberty to leave if they so choose to leave. But we will highly welcome you. So the minister, you can add more chairs.
No, we want to block them.
No, I mean, if you want there, I can just push your chair closer. Yeah. Bring, if you want to join in the discussion, this camera. Yes, sir.
Excuse me. For the regulation, we have to
COVID make your input.
the back is doing contributions as well.
Okay, you can don't close. Director, take COVID into consideration. Yeah, they have to use. Yeah, I'll give you a copy. But I would love you to. You can join at the table. I'll give you a copy. Okay, sir. Yes, sir.